Assalamu alaikum, I'm Aisha and you're watching Samaa News. Here are today's headlines. President Donald Trump has told Southeast Asian leaders in Kuala Lumpur that Washington will remain a strong partner for many generations. Speaking at the USA ASEAN Summit, Trump said America is in its golden age and reaffirmed long-term commitment to the region. His Asia tour also coincides with the signing of a new Cambodia-Thailand ceasefire deal, brokered by the US earlier this year. US President Donald Trump has vowed to solve the conflict between Pakistan and Afghanistan very quickly, calling Prime Minister Shehbaz Sharif and Field Marshal Asim Munir great people. Speaking on the sidelines of the ASEAN Summit in Kuala Lumpur, Trump said his administration has already ended 8 wars in 8 months, with the Pakistan-Afghanistan dispute being the next in line. He said he knows both leaders personally and is confident peace can be restored soon. Meanwhile, President Trump met Malaysian Prime Minister Anwar Ibrahim in Kuala Lumpur on the sidelines of the ASEAN Summit. Both sides signed agreements on reciprocal trade and critical minerals, with Malaysia calling the talks tough but fair. Trump now heads to Japan and South Korea for key meetings with regional leaders, including China's President Xi Jinping. Japan's new Prime Minister, Sanae Takaichi, also attended her first ASEAN Summit in Kuala Lumpur, pledging Tokyo's full support for ASEAN's Indo-Pacific vision. She called for deeper regional cooperation as leaders, including President Trump and China's Premier Li Qiang, gathered amid rising tensions in the South China Sea and uncertainty in global trade. After 2 days of trade talks in Malaysia's capital, Kuala Lumpur, China and the United States have reached what both sides call a basic consensus on addressing trade concerns. During his meeting, US Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent and Trade Representative Jameson Greer, Chinese Vice Premier He Lifeng called for mutual respect and win-win cooperation. The discussions covered tariffs, export controls, and fentanyl-related measures. The Kremlin has warned that any strikes deep inside Russian territory will trigger an overwhelming response. Spokesman Dmitry Peskov reiterated President Vladimir Putin's statement, emphasizing that Moscow will not yield to US or foreign pressure. Earlier, President Vladimir Putin announced the successful test of Russia's nuclear-powered Burevestnik cruise missile, a weapon he says is unmatched globally. The missile reportedly flew over 14,000 kilometers in 15 hours, demonstrating what Moscow calls unlimited range and the ability to evade any defense system. Putin said preparations are now underway for the missile's deployment. Meanwhile, 3 people were reportedly killed and 31 injured, including 6 children, after Russian drones struck Kyiv overnight. Ukrainian officials say the attack damaged 2 high-rise apartment buildings in a residential area, as rescue teams pulled 13 people from upper floors. Mayor Vitaly Klitschko confirmed several hospitalizations, while President Volodymyr Zelensky called for stronger sanctions against Moscow and its allies, saying over 100 drones were launched in the latest wave of strikes. The United Nations Relief and Works Agency has urged Israel to allow urgent humanitarian aid into Gaza as winter sets in. UNRWA says shelter materials and winter supplies remain blocked in Jordan and Egypt, while people in Gaza struggle for warmth and safety. Despite a ceasefire deal with Hamas, restrictions and delays at the Rafah crossing continue, leaving hundreds of aid trucks stranded in Egypt's Al Arish. Meanwhile, Benjamin Netanyahu has declared that Israel alone will decide its security policy and which foreign forces it cooperates with. Speaking at a cabinet meeting, Netanyahu said the United States supports Israel's position, reaffirming that no external force will dictate Israel's security choices. The Kurdistan Workers' Party has announced it is withdrawing from Turkey as part of a disarmament process coordinated with Ankara. The PKK says it's ready to transition into democratic politics if the government passes integration laws. The Turkish government calls this withdrawal a step toward its goal of a terror-free Turkey. Argentines voted on Sunday in midterm elections, seen as a key test for President Javier Milei's economic reforms. His party hopes to gain enough seats in Congress to push ahead with deep austerity and deregulation. The vote also carries high stakes for investor confidence and a $40 billion US bailout tied to Milei's success. French authorities say they have arrested suspects in the daring $102 million jewel heist at the Louvre. One of the men was caught at Charles de Gaulle Airport while trying to flee to Algeria. The stolen crown jewels were taken in broad daylight last week, exposing major security lapses at the world's most visited museum. A thick blanket of toxic smog has once again engulfed Lahore, pushing the city's air quality to hazardous levels. Officials say the pollution spike is due to both local burning and smog drifting from India after Diwali. Authorities have deployed new quick response units to curb stubble burning, with strict penalties for violators, as residents brace for worsening air conditions. And a new regional football tournament, the FIFA ASEAN Cup, has been announced under an agreement between FIFA and the Association of Southeast Asian Nations to promote football development across Southeast Asia. The deal was unveiled at the 47th ASEAN Summit in Kuala Lumpur, where FIFA President Gianni Infantino and ASEAN Secretary-General Kao Kim Horn signed a renewed memorandum of understanding. Modelled after the FIFA Arab Cup, the event will feature national teams from all 11 ASEAN member states and be integrated into FIFA's international match calendar. That's all for now. For more updates, visit www.samaa.tv. Thank you for watching Samaa News.